Final collapse, when all reflexes fire. Survivors of narcissistic abuse are often told that their reactions, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, define their trauma response. But MPIT goes deeper. We don't ask, which one do you use? We ask, which anticipatory stress reflex, ASR, ignited? Because behind every behavioural reaction is a symbolic ignition point. And when the narcissist discards you, cold, calculated, inverted, all three ASRs ignite. This is the beginning of the deepest collapse. ASR 1, the infantile panic. This is your earliest unprocessed trauma. It activates when the loss feels catastrophic, as if you won't survive. Your system screams, even if your voice doesn't. This is the death of the good object, the inner collapse of safety. Freeze becomes paralysis, fawn becomes desperation to make them come back. You may feel infantile, regressed, humiliated, but you don't know why. ASR 2, the anticipatory reflex. This is the adult psychological bypass that forms after early absence. You start bracing before anything even happens. You orbit, ruminate, predict their moves, apologise before the attack. Flight becomes hypervigilance. Fawn becomes preemptive self-blame. You call it anxiety, but it's the shadow of your younger self forecasting annihilation. ASR 3, the shadow reflex. This is what gets ignited upon discard. It is not a reflex away from pain. It is a reflex into disassociation. You become detached from your body, your meaning, your memory, your voice. Fight collapses into intellectualizing. Freeze becomes depersonalization. Fawn becomes philosophical or spiritual bypass. This is not numbness. It's symbolic collapse. You are not lost. You're inverted. What happens next? CIPR, IMRA, and orbital collapse. Once all ASRs ignite, your internal system becomes distorted. You will experience collapse-induced psychotic regression, emotional flashbacks, dream-like fog on reality. Inverse mirrored reflexive apathy, IMRA, kicks in. You mimic normalcy while your affect is gone. You enter an orbital collapse. Each attempt to reclaim yourself loops back to the narcissist gaze. You're not just broken, you've been turned inside out, and yet everyone assumes that you should be fine. You may even be high functioning, you may even be done. You think you've reached the depressive position, but have you? The false depressive position, reaction formation disguised as healing. After symbolic collapse, survivors often believe they've healed. They feel done, they stop crying, they stop chasing, they help others, they write posts like this one. But something is still buried, something silent. They've landed in what psychology calls the depressive position, but in MPIT we name it more truthfully: reaction formation in collapse. Behavioural signs of the reaction formation: hyper-functioning to hide collapse, over-intellectualizing your pain, helping others obsessively to bypass your own grief, shutting down intimacy while saying you're just working on yourself. Psychological signs: I don't feel anything anymore equals internal disconnection. I've forgiven them equals a spiritual bypass. I'm better alone equals fawn turned inward. I'm healed is the final performance of the false self. This is not the real depressive position. It is a mimic, a defensive performance, an elegant freeze. The true depressive position, mourning without performance. True healing begins when we no longer try to complete the story. We let it fall apart. We allow for fragmentation. We stop explaining, performing, fixing, ascending. We descend. We witness. We wait. This is not weakness. This is the final gate. This is where all three ASRs are seen, not fought, not fawned from, not flown from, but held, integrated and named. This is the path out of inversion. This is the return to authorship. Final note to survivors. If you're not numb, you're surviving. If you're still looping, you're still in orbit. If you feel you've healed, but something doesn't click, that's not your failure. That's the shadow reflex, still keeping you safe. And now, finally, you're ready to meet it. Peace out. Loads of love.